Hey everybody, welcome. Hope your 4th of July was great. Joined today again with Beth, Brent, myself, coming from the lake place. So hopefully the connection is good. Beth says it's a little blurry on her end. So I guess we'll see Beth once we're done and we hit post how it comes out. But just wanted to, I guess, welcome everybody. Today's topic, Beth, we wanted to talk about dealing with friends and family, the referral component of that, and then ultimately what happens when they don't use us for a mortgage or for a real estate transaction. How do we deal with that, especially as introverts, where we maybe tend to overthink things a little bit more than some of our friends do. So Beth, give me your overall, I guess, thoughts on working friends and family. Maybe came up here over the 4th where you've had those conversations with some connections, but what do you think of when you think of that? How does it go? What are your thoughts there?
Sure. Well, for me, I was just thinking about it because I just closed a transaction this July 3rd, and it was sent to me from my brother-in-law. And it was him. He was my second referral only from my family. I've been in the business almost 9+ years. My first referral was from my cousin from Florida and referred some friends that were moving to South Dakota and referred them, and it was great. But in 9 years, I've had two family members refer business to me. And so I was just kind of like thinking, well, why is that? Is it because I don't ask them for business? They certainly ask me how the market's going. Is it because I'm not asking them like the right way? Is it because they don't trust me? I don't know what it is, but I guess I was going to ask you, do you get a lot of family referrals?
Do get a lot of family referrals. Sometimes I wonder for myself, like with family, at least for me anyway, tend to overthink it quite a bit. So feel like they're going to ask why the rate's not lower, what this fee is. They think we're making it too hard for them. Like I almost have this level of like perfection that has to happen when dealing with friends and family. So for me, the mental block is it's almost easier to work with strangers, build that trust from scratch, and then it's more of a business relationship. Where when it's friends and family, you got the awkwardness of knowing their finances, looking at their credit report, all of that. Couldn't care less about it, honestly. Forget about it right away. But I feel like they think it's awkward sometimes. To answer your question, have had quite a few friends and family over the years, but the ones that I remember the most are the ones that actually I feel like I would get their business, and then they went to the local bank or another lender, that type of thing, and that burns me quite a bit from time to time. Even just thinking about that, I don't know if you're the same way, but that's a tough one to overcome sometimes. So.
Yeah, I think anytime a friend or family member doesn't use you, number one, I think we all need to realize we can't assume that they will, because we all can remember a time where we've got burned. Um, and I think that was one of my biggest lessons learned early in real estate is just like, yeah, I'll go show you houses. And I didn't establish like the agency relationship like I should have and didn't sign the paperwork that I should have because I just assumed, well, they were my really good friends. They're going to use me. And sure as heck, they didn't. They went straight to the builder and cut me out of it. And I learned real fast that sometimes it is almost easier to work with strangers than it is your friends and family. But do you ask your family and your friends for business? Because I feel like I guess I'm really bad at that.
I think I'm bad at asking straight, like almost. It's hard to be really transparent and say, hey, we appreciate your referrals. Like we have no problem saying that to a stranger that became a client or a customer, but we have a hard time saying that to our family and friends, and those people you would think would want to help us out the most, right? So I think ultimately what I look back on is it's probably my fault. I think you alluded to this in a previous call. We assume that they know we need referrals, but then sometimes we put off the vibes that, well, we're really busy, and they might actually look at that as, oh, Beth's really busy. I probably don't need to bother her with this. She's got plenty else going on, and they almost feel like they're inconveniencing you. I think on the mortgage side, sometimes they don't even realize that there's a big commission component involved with it. They maybe know that on the real estate side. So ultimately, I think it's something where myself just have to do better at showing appreciation for those referrals. And then even as awkward as it is, figuring out a way to ask for the referral and ask for the business and the opportunities. And I think that's where probably a lot of us fall short on that part of it.
That's what I would love to know from everybody that's watching this video is like, how do you approach friends and family, ask for referrals? Is it the same exact way you do to your past clients? Or do you take a different approach? Do you do pop buys or newsletters or handwritten notes and those kind of things to your family and friends? Or are you just shifting that just towards your sphere of past clients and things like that? I try to do both, but sometimes I'll admit that I feel like I'm almost better at taking care of my past clients than I am like, the close people in my family.
Do you think it's because we feel like our past clients expect that, and it feels kind of awkward with the family because maybe they did use someone else to buy their house or to get their last loan, and we almost don't want to make that relationship more awkward. So I think that's where I mentally sometimes put a block up there. We really should have all of our friends and family in our CRM. We should have them on our mailings that we do, the pop buys that you talk about, handwritten thank you notes if we do those. Like, they should just be part of that database as a whole, whether we worked with them professionally or not. And I would say for me, I know there's quite a few missing from that for me.
Well, and I think maybe what I should get better at is if I have a down year, your friends and family are who you can be most vulnerable with. And so I need to get better at like showing up and going, oh my, how's business? You know what? I need your help because it's not what I want it to be. Instead of like, oh, it's good or it's slow, or just like, I need your help.
It's a really good point. I'm wondering, anyone on that's listening here on the call, over the 4th, I bet we all had the question, whether we're in mortgage or real estate, how's the market? How are interest rates? What's going on with housing? And it's easy to give the negative answer, right? Because it's a more of a challenging market this year. Inventory's down, interest rates are up, went up again today. And it's easy to give that kind of that negative outlook on things. Well, they're not going to want to talk about it. They might not even want to. Why would we want to refer to someone who's negative? So I find myself catching myself on that. I've got to have a better outlook on it, and then a way to position. We could use your help on referrals, and I can't get over the mental block of how that maybe sounds a little bit awkward when it's a good friend or family member, kind of like that. So have you figured out a way to ask that, Beth, or is that something you struggle with as well?
I still struggle with it all the time. The best, like, not in your face way of asking people for referrals is where I'm like, hey, please don't keep me a secret. Like, please make sure you tell people that about me if you run into anybody. And that's like kind of my indirect way of asking. And I actually just need to get the confidence to get more direct. So again, I'd love to hear from everybody who watches this, like advice and tips on getting me out of my shell, and like maybe like the monkey off my shoulder that says like that's awkward or don't do that or that's going to come across wrong.
Perfect. Well, there's the question for everyone. When you're talking to family and they ask how the market's going or what's new in real estate or mortgage, what's your response? How do you get more referrals from friends and family? And then how do you deal with it when they don't use you and they go down the street? Because I think there's probably a lot of us in the group that have that same emotion tied up behind that, where we've lost one, that we feel like we should have. So feel free to answer in the group. Let us know if you've got any other ideas for content going forward. And then if you know someone else that's in the industry that maybe would fit in with this group, feel free by all means to invite them. We'd love to grow the group. And we'll be back again probably next week on another topic. So have a great weekend, everybody.